Have you ever noticed that even when nothing terrible is happening, your mind still feels tense? You wake up tired. You check your phone before your eyes are fully open. You go through the day answering messages, solving problems, worrying about money, thinking about the future, trying to keep everyone happy, and somehow convincing yourself that you just need to push a little harder. And yet, no matter how much you sleep, no matter how many weekends pass, your mind never seems to feel truly rested. Maybe you've started wondering what's wrong with you. Why does everything feel so overwhelming? Why are you so tired all the time? Why can't you relax anymore? But what if the problem isn't that you're weak? What if your mind was simply never designed to carry this much stress? Because the truth is, human beings evolved to deal with temporary danger, not endless pressure, not thousands of notifications, not constant bad news, not financial uncertainty, not work emails at midnight, not being available to everyone all the time, and certainly not living in a world where your brain never gets permission to stop. Today, we're going to talk about something most people don't realize. Your mind isn't failing, it's overwhelmed. And maybe for the first time in a long time, there's a reason why you feel the way you do. The human mind was built for short bursts of stress. Thousands of years ago, stress had a beginning and an end. You faced danger. Your body became alert. You escaped. And then you recovered. The nervous system knew how to return to safety. There was tension, followed by relief. Fear, followed by rest. But modern stress doesn't work that way. Today, danger doesn't come in the form of predators. It comes in the form of bills, deadlines, relationships, news headlines, social media, traffic, loneliness, uncertainty, and the strange feeling that you're always behind. Your brain doesn't always distinguish between a lion chasing you and a phone full of responsibilities. Stress hormones rise. Your body prepares for danger, except the danger never fully disappears. And because it never disappears, your nervous system never fully relaxes, which means your mind remains partially awake, partially guarded, partially preparing for something bad to happen, day after day, month after month, year after year. And eventually, what feels normal isn't peace anymore. It's tension. You weren't meant to process so much information. Every day, your mind absorbs information than previous generations could have encountered in weeks. Messages, emails, videos, news, opinions, notifications, endless scrolling. Your brain never gets silence. And silence is not laziness. Silence is recovery. But most people don't experience true mental silence anymore. Even moments that used to be peaceful are filled with stimulation. Standing in line, driving, eating, walking, waiting. There is always something to consume, something to check, something to respond to. And eventually, your mind stops knowing how to rest. Not because it doesn't want to, but because it forgot how. Your attention becomes fragmented. Your thoughts become noisy. And even when you're physically resting, your mind keeps running in the background. Like a computer with 50 tabs open. No wonder you feel exhausted. No wonder your brain feels heavy. It wasn't designed for this. Stress doesn't always feel like panic. Many people think stress should feel dramatic, but chronic stress often feels surprisingly ordinary. It can look like being tired all the time, losing motivation, forgetting things, feeling emotionally numb, getting irritated over small things, struggling to concentrate, needing constant distractions, feeling restless even during vacations, having trouble enjoying things you used to love, feeling guilty when you're resting. And perhaps the strangest part of all, you can become so used to stress that you stop recognizing it. You think, this is just adulthood. This is just life. This is normal. But surviving isn't the same as living. And functioning isn't the same as feeling okay. Sometimes you've adapted to stress so well that you don't realize how exhausted you've become. Your brain keeps waiting for the next problem. Have you noticed that even during good moments, your mind struggles to relax? You finish one task, immediately you think about the next one. You solve one problem, your brain searches for another. Nothing terrible is happening, yet you can't fully enjoy the present because somewhere inside your nervous system learned that safety is temporary. It learned that something always needs attention, that rest is dangerous, that slowing down means falling behind. So instead of experiencing peace, your mind stays on standby, always prepared, always scanning, always waiting. And this constant anticipation slowly drains you, not because you're weak, but because vigilance requires energy, and the human mind was never meant to remain vigilant every waking hour. Being strong doesn't mean being able to carry everything. Many people secretly believe that strength means enduring endless pressure. Keep going. Don't complain. Handle it yourself. Push harder. Stay productive. Be available. Never disappoint anyone. But strength without recovery becomes exhaustion. And exhaustion doesn't happen because you're lazy. It happens because you're human. Even machines require maintenance. Even batteries need recharging. Even muscles need rest. Yet somehow, we expect our minds to function perfectly under non-stop pressure. And when they can't, we blame ourselves. But perhaps you were never supposed to carry everything alone. Perhaps being overwhelmed isn't proof that you're failing. Perhaps it's proof that you've been carrying too much for too long. Your body often speaks before your mind does. Stress doesn't always announce itself through thoughts. Sometimes it appears through the body first. Headaches, tight shoulders, poor sleep, digestive problems, brain fog, low energy, muscle tension, heart palpitations, fatigue that doesn't go away because the body remembers what the mind tries to ignore. You might tell yourself you're fine, but your nervous system knows how much you've been carrying, and eventually, the body starts asking for what the mind refuses to acknowledge. Rest, slower days, boundaries, space, recovery. Not because you're broken, but because no human being can run endlessly without consequences. Why rest doesn't always feel like rest. Have you ever sat down to relax but still felt restless? You watch television, scroll your phone, lie in bed, but your mind refuses to slow down. Because exhaustion isn't only physical, it's nervous system exhaustion. And when your nervous system has lived in survival mode for too long, peace can actually feel unfamiliar. Stillness feels uncomfortable. Silence feels strange. Doing nothing feels wrong. You may even feel guilty for resting, because your mind became attached to productivity, attached to urgency, attached to constant movement. So when life becomes quiet, anxiety appears. Not because something is wrong, but because your brain hasn't learned that it's safe to stop. And learning safety takes time. Modern life rewards overload. We live in a culture that celebrates busyness. People brag about being exhausted, working late, sleeping less, always hustling, always available, always productive. And somewhere along the way, many people started believing that their worth depends on how much they can endure. But constantly being busy doesn't necessarily mean you're living well. Sometimes it simply means you're overwhelmed. Sometimes it means you've forgotten what peace feels like. Because productivity can become an escape. Staying busy can protect us from uncomfortable emotions, from loneliness, from uncertainty, from grief, from fear. But eventually, endless motion catches up with us. And the mind begins asking questions that productivity can no longer silence. Questions like, when was the last time I truly rested? When was the last time I felt calm? When was the last time I enjoyed being alive instead of simply surviving? You don't need to earn rest. This might be one of the hardest things to accept. Rest is not a reward. It's a requirement. You don't have to finish everything first. You don't have to deserve it. You don't need permission. You don't have to reach burnout before you're allowed to slow down. Because if you only rest when everything is done, you'll never rest. There will always be another task, another email, another responsibility, another problem. Life doesn't pause, which means waiting for the perfect moment to recover often means waiting forever. And your mind deserves better than that. Small moments of safety matter more than you think. Healing from chronic stress isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it begins with very ordinary things. Taking a walk without headphones, sitting quietly for 10 minutes, eating without scrolling, watching the sunset, laughing with someone you trust, breathing deeply, going to bed earlier, saying no when you need to, letting yourself be imperfect. These things seem small, but to an overwhelmed nervous system, small moments of safety matter. Because healing doesn't happen through intensity. It happens through repetition, not by forcing yourself harder, but by reminding your mind again and again. You don't have to be on guard all the time. Not everything is an emergency. You are allowed to slow down. Maybe you're not broken. Maybe you've spent years thinking something is wrong with you. Why am I so tired? Why can't I focus? Why do I feel numb? Why can't I enjoy life? Why do I need so much rest? But maybe these aren't signs that you're broken. Maybe they're signs that you've been surviving. Maybe your mind has simply been trying to protect you, trying to keep you functioning, trying to keep you moving, trying to keep you safe. And perhaps the exhaustion you feel isn't weakness. Perhaps it's the cost of carrying too much for too long. Your mind wasn't meant to process endless information, endless pressure, endless expectations, endless uncertainty. No one was. And maybe the goal isn't becoming stronger so you can handle even more. Maybe the goal is learning that you were never supposed to handle everything alone. If your mind feels tired lately, if everything feels heavier than it used to, if resting doesn't seem to help, if you're functioning but not truly living, please remember this. You are not failing. You are not lazy. You are not weak. And you are not broken. You are a human mind living in a world that asks for more than it was ever designed to carry. And perhaps healing doesn't begin by pushing harder. Perhaps it begins with something much gentler, by giving yourself permission to stop fighting every second of every day, by remembering that peace isn't something you earn. It's something you need. And maybe, just maybe, your mind has been asking for that peace for a very long time. If this resonated with you, you're not alone. Sometimes the most important thing we can hear is this: you were never meant to carry this much stress by yourself.